about talking about the ravens and how I befriended them, and so I just want to start out. Um, let's see, the last property that I was living at, I noticed that we had a raven couple that lived there, and every day I would see them, I would call out to them, and I call them Heckle and Jekyll. Now, if you're my age, you remember the cartoon with the two ravens, Heckle and Jekyll. And so every day when they would fly over my property, I would call out, "Hey, Heckle, hey, Jekyll," and then I would send pictures to them of wanting to be friends with them and wanting them to come closer and just to talk to me, and that it was safe. Um, and this was a point in my time where we were going through a lot of false light ascension stuff, all these super moons, that were supposed to bring us all these great energies and, all this great stuff, all that carrot before the horse stuff. And we just keep going from one day to the next and nothing ever seems to happen. And, so I was at a low point because, I soon realized this is false light, and I have to stop waiting, and I have to just get busy and start doing. And you know that I am a big believer in our ascension, our way through to ascension is through Gaia herself, and reconnecting with her, and how we do that. We do it with reconnecting to her natural realms. That's how she talks to us. So, paying attention. I've told you this before. Paying attention, belief, putting it out there, and just connecting and staying tuned and believing you can do this. So every day I went out there, and I just believed that I could talk to these ravens, and I just believed that they would come down and be friends with me. Well, this one morning I was really at my lowest, and when I went out, I had to walk down my driveway to the barn to feed the horses. And by then the ravens, very smart, they knew my routine. They knew that 3 times a day I would go down to feed the horses. And this was the early morning feeding, and I was walking down the driveway, and I was down just looking at the dirt, my feet in front of me, and I was just not paying attention. And I got down to the first stall where Tequila was, and I looked over, and 10 feet from me on Tequila's stall on the post was one of the ravens. And I think it was the male, and because I always wanted to say, "Hey, Heckle," and there he was, and I had no idea. Have you seen them close up? How huge they are? That's the difference between a raven and a crow. Crow is smaller than a raven. This guy was enormous. Now I don't know if it was the female or the male. Didn't care what I called him, and the raven just looked at me, and the raven, it was like, okay, what is the message you were bringing to me? And I remember, I had been depressed because of all this false light, we're all waiting, waiting, waiting. I was so tired of waiting. And that morning, the message from Gaia was, you need to stop the waiting. You need to stop letting yourself being infiltrated. You need to stay on your path, and remember your purpose, and remember that your ascension and your spiritual growth is always through me, through my natural realms. And that was his message to me. And when I got that message, it just like, my whole day was like I was on cloud 9. I was just like, oh my gosh, bucket list check off. I got to talk to a raven close up. And when they say a raven comes to you, and one of the messages, of course, is animal communication. When a raven comes to you, it's because you are have done your work, and you're now into where you can communicate with the natural realms. And there I was communicating with him. But also, raven also means that you have initiated it's a self-initiation into the realm of Gaia. It's like what the witches have to go through, their initiation stages. You've done this, so you get this rite of passage. You've done this, you get this next rite of passage. And so when Raven comes to you, especially as close as that one came to me, that is your sign that you have been doing your work and you get to go up to the next level of spirituality, the next level of learning. And so they say that when Raven comes to you and when Raven has befriended you, he will bring his family. Well, that's exactly what he did. The next summer, this was last summer, I just knew it was really funny because they're so smart and they learn your routine and they want to know what you're doing and when you're doing it. And every morning, I would, when I would go down to feed the horses, I would always check the mouse traps because we had, terrible pack rats, mice issues. And I would always throw the mice out the back door every morning. And now Heckle knew exactly what I was doing. And it was like at first I didn't realize it was him, but I would put a mouse out and later on that mouse would be gone. So I started watching because I had a feeling it was Heckle. Sure enough, Heckle knew to come down every morning when he would talk to me and do his little dance and, and they're funny because it got to the point where I could throw out dried breadcrumbs and he would go down and it was really funny because for them to see where the crumbs were, they'd have to hop up. And he'd hop up and he'd look, he'd hop up, and then he'd go, oh, there it is. And then he'd go and get it. And he'd hop up again and go, oh, there it is. And he'd get it. But then he would get the mouse and take it to the nest. And well, it got to the point where when we would catch him on my back deck, he would know, and I would take the mice to the pack rats and I would put them on the stone right off my deck where the landscaping is. I told you in my other video, I have this black pool of water for everybody to drink. There's, the nice big rocks around it. And I would put the mouse on that rock and he'd come down and he'd get the mouse, and he'd be happy. He's feeding his kids. Well, once the kids grew up and came out of the nest, they just stayed in the yard. They knew that it was okay to stay because I don't think you realize that, especially at night, when ravens are sleeping at night, they are prey to the owls. The owls will take baby ravens out at night if they're, sleeping in the tree, which I know harmony and cooperation with the animal kingdom. So when the ravens came out of their nest, they lived in the yard all summer long, and it was very, very hot last summer. And I had to keep that pool of water full of water because they would every morning they would come and every afternoon they would come when it was hot.
The bees, they got to contend with the bees because the bees are in there too. But these are still Heckle's babies. They're funny. They make a lot of noise. I have rocks in there, so it's hard for them to bathe. The reason I put rocks in there is because one day I found 2 dead birds floating in there. So I gotta keep the rocks so they don't, I felt really bad. They are funny. Gotta cool off. It's hot out there. Gonna be another hot day. Comes the rest of them. Let's see. No one coming down. Oh, are you taking a bath? I'm going to come and take a bath too. Let me in, let me in. You didn't die, so I guess I'm going to give it a try. Come on, guys. Oh. Sorry that my deck is in the way, but I don't want to go out there because it will scare them.
Out of it, and they would all bathe in it. And I do have a video of it. If you, when you're done watching this, look for the rest of my videos. It's just a random videos of the ravens in my backyard. That's all it is, of the baby ravens in the pool in my backyard. And then they would sleep. There was a little fence, and they would just sit on the fence and they would sleep and you know, do the thing. But they were so noisy. It was like raven daycare all summer long. Ah, ah, you know, they were so, but they were hilarious, and I just loved to have them with me. So that is my raven story. Okay, so get into falcon. Let's go into more winged falcon. Now here I am one day taking a walk with my big dog, and you know, like I said, when you're taking a walk, pay attention, be mindful, look for all kinds of signs. Here comes a falcon, landed in this dead tree right next to me. So I stopped and looking up at the falcon, and I'm talking to the falcon. And as long as I'm standing there talking to the falcon stayed in the tree. He was not afraid. I knew he was specifically there to give me a message. Now remember, the winged are the ones that bring the messages to you. Well, they all do, but because they're in the air and they fly, our ancients say it's the message from spirit. And so, okay, I get home, and of course, the first thing I do is I have to get my animal speak book, which I think everybody needs to have, and looked up the meaning of falcon. And I have another one. What was that one called? Animal Magic. And I looked in that one too. And that one said, be prepared. You will be helping a friend, or you'll be helping someone cross over, you know, cross the Rainbow Bridge. And of course, I didn't want to hear that. Oh gosh, you know, that's always so scary, right? You know, and I was just like, I don't want to lose anybody. I'm not ready to lose anybody. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I'd helped my 14-year-old poodle cross over. And, you know, when I was helping him cross, I totally forgot about the falcon. And then the next day it was like, you know, I'm just feeling like, oh, you know, we all go through it. Did I do the right thing? Really, was it his time? Even though he had a stone in his urethra and he was in so much pain. And that next day, falcon came back to me. And I remembered the meaning. And it was, you're going to help someone cross over, which I've done so many times before. And so here is another communication, you know, another communication from the animal realm. And so another falcon story is, here we are, belief, intention, belief, you know, and I'm always saying, I really love falcons, and I just would love to be able to hold a falcon in my hand. I mean, bucket list, I hold a falcon in my hand. You know, you watch those people that have, you know, the rescues, the raptor rescues, and you watch them, you know, able to, it's like, I would just love to be able to do that. And I always feel like I've done this in a past life, that I've done this before in a past life. And so this one day, I'm sitting in my living room, and I had these great big huge windows, you know, and that went all the way up to the peak. And it was a really bad snowstorm. It was March, and it was just snowing like crazy. They already had like 18 inches of snow out there. And bang, I hear this loud boom. Something hit the window. And I was like, what the heck was that? So I go and look, and face down in the snow was a falcon. So I run out there, and I grab the falcon in my hand, and I bring her in the house. And of course, you know, I start asking if it's okay if I can give her Reiki, and to only give her as much as she needs. And while I'm doing this, I mean, this falcon is out cold. And while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, okay, what is she going to do when she wakes up? If she wakes up, Is she going to be scared? Is she going to bite me? What is she going to do? And so I'm thinking, no, 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 calm it down. Keep your energies calm and send to her, you know, the calm, because they do realize when you're trying to help them. So I'm sending her that, you know, energy that I'm only trying to help you. I have no intentions of keeping you. As much as I would have liked it, no, I'm not. I have no intentions of keeping you. And when she woke up, she just looked at me, and she knew that, you know, I was helping her. And so my husband was there, and he opened the door for me, because she communicated to me that she was okay, she was well enough to fly, and it was okay for me to go and let her out. And so we stepped outside, and I just kind of slowly opened my hand, and she just flew. And the feeling was like she took part of me with her. It was just amazing to feel something that could easily just lift like that. And, you know, and it was still snowing. And an hour later, I saw her. She took out one of my morning doves, lunchtime, you know, and I was like, oh gosh, I just saved your life, and here you are taking a what, you know, but here we go again, cooperation. So that is another of my stories, and it all comes from intention and connection to Gaia, and letting her know what it is you want to experience, and believing that you will experience it, and that's exactly what I did. Okay, so let's see, that's falcons, ravens, little birds, you know, little birds hitting your windows all the time, and of course Reiki, you know, you run out there, you grab them. I don't know how many little birds that I've had unconscious, put them in my hand. I got pictures of them. I mean, and they wake up and they fly away. Well, one day it was very, very funny, because one day we build custom homes, and I was in one of the houses, and my husband was out in the garage, and we were, you know, trying to finish up on this home, and the Hispanic company was there doing stucco, just, you know, some finish work on stucco. And I come outside, and my husband was in the garage, and a little bird had flew in and hit the window and was, you know, looked like it was dead. And my husband had picked it up, and he brought it to me, and he's like, here, heal it. You know, that's how you heal it. Do whatever it is. What do you do? I don't know what you do. Do it to this poor little bird. So I put the bird in my hand, and I could see out of the corner of my eye this one Hispanic fellow, and he caught our exchange, and he was watching me, and I could tell he was like, what is going on? You know, that bird looks dead to me, you know, just throw it in the garbage. And so I walked out in the driveway, and I just didn't pay him any mind. And, you know, did my thing, sent the energy to the bird. And usually I know if a bird's going to be okay is if he wakes up and then he poops in my hand. They usually do that. I don't know why. And he woke up, pooped in my hand, and he flew on the tree, and he sat in the tree and just gave me the most beautiful little song. And here next to me, this poor Hispanic fellow is just like, he just could not believe what he just saw. And he was just amazed. And he hurriedly leaves around the other side of the house to go tell, you know, the rest of his friends what he just saw. And I didn't pay him any mind, and I went back into the house and finished the construction clean. So, you know, here we go again. It's a belief that you can do that. And, you know, most people go, oh, bird's dead, don't even worry about it. I always give them the benefit of the doubt. If they're supposed to, and I've always found this way, if there's a will, there's a way. And, you know, if you want to put that intention, then you'll help them. And I haven't lost one yet. So you can kind of tell. It's hard to tell if a little bird's dead, you know, but you can kind of feel the energy. You can kind of tell. And those are the ones that I will take and, you know, and bury. And so, but I you know, I just wanted to talk to you today about, you know, connecting with Gaia, and, you know, with this false light stuff. This is where the truth is. We are part of Gaia. Gaia is part of us, and I keep saying this over and over again. I mean, every time our physical body dies, she takes us in, and we go back to her body, and it's kind of like it's when we cross, the false light thing. We don't want to go into the light. We want to go to Gaia. That's where we want to start, and then go home, or go to another our star family, or go straight to source, or whichever. But we're finding out now that going into the light is just a recycle. We're going into the recycle bin, and I'm just wondering how many animals are caught in that recycle bin trap, where they go into the light and they end up being recycled right back here. That's that dark agenda that we talk so much. The archons, what does Cameron Day call them? The ankle biters. Because the archon is supposed to be some word that has this profound meaning, and he doesn't want to use. He doesn't want to give them that, energy. Oh, great archon, and so. We want, when we know where it's our time, we want to go to Gaia first, and then route to where we're going to go, and bypass that recycle bin. And there's a lot of information about that on Facebook and YouTube, and just take it in and let it, feel it. How does it resonate with you? Because our beliefs do change as we learn and as we grow. So there I am. I just wanted to talk to you more about how we communicate with Gaia and how easy it is. It's so easy. And just remember to stay present, stay aware, pay attention, and intention. What is our intention? And so I think I wanted to also tell you that last week I helped a 30-year-old horse cross over with another Reiki master. And it was bittersweet. I've done this before. Every time I do this, I always learn and grow from it. And I always wonder about the animals too. Are they trapped in that recycle bin? And that's something that I concentrated on when I was working with this 30-year-old horse. And it was such a gift of what he shared, and the two of us being there at that moment, and how it evolved, that the two of us were there at the same time. We both knew that it was divine, that we were both supposed to be there with him. His owner was in Mexico for a month, and he was in my charge at the time. And so I think what I want to do is get her here and let's do a chat and an episode on helping him cross, because so many people are afraid of this. They are so afraid of the cycle of life and death and rebirth. I mean, this was rebirth time for him. And so I think you'll find this very interesting in what he showed us and what he had to say during this journey and how it unfolded. So when she's done skiing, it's ski season up here in the Colorado mountains. I will tie her down and we'll do an episode and we'll talk about that. And then maybe I will go into the horses, how to, talk to Gaia through her natural realms, the horse. And, Dragon Horse was inspired by this actual awakening. And so anyways, that's what I have to say today, guys. And thanks for being with me. And just watch for the next episode. And like I said, pay attention, intention, belief, and just be present. And that is our way of awakening and our ascension, so to speak. really hate that word though, because it's got this broad meaning and so much false light attached to it. So anyway, see you next